Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be going over how to use the Z-depth pass in Blender. So first I'm going to go ahead and grab my cube, hit X and delete it, and then hit Shift A and go to Mesh and Plane. I'm going to scale this plane up by 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift A again and add in a UV sphere. And I'll take these segments and rings down to 8, scale it down a little bit, and go to 1 and bring it up to the top. Or bring it up so that it's sitting right on the ground plane. And now I'll go ahead and grab it, and just using Shifty, I'm going to add in a bunch of spheres. Okay. And then I'll just come here and add in a new material and change the color, and I'll come here to look dead view so I can see what I'm doing, and just keep adding in new materials and new colors. This is just for the purposes of understanding the process, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. Okay, I'm going to grab the ground plane, add in a new material, and then just take the roughness to 0.1. Alright, and then last but not least, I'll take my point light here, and I'll hit G, and I'll just stick it on this side of the mesh and bring it down a little bit. And then Shifty, I'll put another one over here, and bring that further down. And then another one over here, and raise it up. Okay. Next, I can grab all these spheres, just hit B, select everything, Object, Shade Smooth. Awesome. Now I'll grab my camera, I'll hit 0, hit N to open up the Properties panel and lock camera to view. And then I will go ahead and stick my camera in a place where we can find some kind of a good looking composition. Take the ground plane, scale it up just a little bit more, and hit Control S to save. Okay, so right now we have a good looking scene, and let's go ahead and have our camera selected. We'll come here to rendered view, and we can see what our scene looks like. Now with my camera selected, the first thing I have to do is come here to the render engine. I'll take the viewport down to 1 sample just to speed things up, and I'll turn on ambient occlusion. I'll turn on depth of field. You can see that automatically blurs everything out, and screen space reflections. Save one more time. Now I can come here to depth of field, and the first method for depth of field is to measure out the distance between your camera and an object. So I'm going to come here to 7, and I'll grab my measure tool here, and I'm just going to start here at the origin of the camera, and I'm going to come maybe to that sphere, and then I can grab, if I hit 1, I can grab that part of the measuring tool, and I can kind of place this where I want. I can see 10.392. So if I come back to my rendered view, and I go to the focal distance and I type in 10.392, you can see that all of a sudden everything becomes in focus, and then I can take the f-stop down to, let's say, a 1 or a 0.1, and you can see that that particular sphere is in focus while everything else is out of focus. And I can add other things like blades, rotation, things like that. But let's talk about a different way. So that's the first way, is physically measuring out the distance between the object. The second way is to just use this focus on object tool. Grab the eyedropper, select an object, and that will be the object you're in focus. You can always select a different object, and then that object is in focus. So this is great if you just want to quickly stick an object in focus in your scene. And this render looks pretty terrible right now because I'm using one sample with Eevee. Of course, if you increase the samples and you spend more time setting up your scene, you'll get a better result. Let's go with the third option that I personally like is to add in an empty. So you grab an empty. I usually use a plane axis. And then if you grab your camera again and come to the focus object and you grab the empty, now, let me see, grab the empty, I can hit G and Y and I can actually change the focus. I can animate the focus by animating this empty throughout my scene. So I can snap it to an object, I can move it in different directions and things like that. But regardless of how good your depth of field is, there's always going to be a problem, and that's that adding depth of field inside of your render will always add render time. So I'm going to come back to my camera and I'm just going to turn off that depth of field, and I'm going to turn off this depth of field here. So we have everything in focus. And then I'm going to come here to, I'm going to save here and switch over to cycles. And I'm going to grab my lights here and just increase their brightness a little bit. Take that to maybe 10,000, a little too much. And this one maybe 1,000 as well. And 1,000 as well. Okay. So I'll go ahead and save. And now I'm just going to go ahead and set up a quick render. And the first thing that I'm going to do is come here to the denoising tab and turn that on. And then under passes, I'm going to make sure that the Z pass is checked. Next, I'm going to come here and I'm going to change this to OpenEXR because I want that pass to be saved, and I want to tick Z buffer. Okay, and finally, just go ahead and save. Finally, I'm going to come here to the render and take this to 16. And the light paths, I'll take that to 4 and 1, 1, 0, and 2. Okay, I'll go ahead and save this real quick. Go to shaded view and render by hitting F12. Okay, so my image is done. I'll come here to image, save as, and make sure that the OpenEXR is selected, and I'll just go ahead and save that as depth pass. Save image. Awesome. I can close that, and then let's go ahead and open up two windows. The first one is the image editor, and the second one is the compositing. And then we'll go ahead and click use nodes, and we'll hit Shift A and add in a viewer node. If you wanted to use the node wrangler, you're more than welcome. I'll change the top here to viewer. And then we can go ahead and connect up our image to the viewer. So the next thing that we can do is hit Shift A and search and add in a defocus node right here. Now this depth pass right here is perfect. If we actually connect the depth paths to the viewer node, we'll see it's all white. And the reason that it's all white is because the computer has calculated from the origin of the camera all the way out to infinity. And anything over a value of 1 creates a white pixel. So we need to normalize these. So add in Shift A, search, and normalize. We'll add in one of those nodes, stick that there, and that gives the infinite node a value of 1. And you can see here that now we have a pretty good looking depth pass. So in order to use the defocus node, let's go ahead and take the value and put this into the Z, and then the image and put that into the image. And then we can go ahead and stick this image into the viewer node, and nothing has changed. However, if we want to, we can just go ahead and increase the Z scale, and you can see that it makes everything in the back more blurry. So you can just increase this Z scale, and you can see that the blurry radius is just coming closer and closer to the camera. So anyway, that's been a little bit of how to use the defocus node. There's more here, but for this tutorial, that'll be it. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if this helped you out at all. And I'll see you guys next time.